again, thanks for coming in, y'all. Thanks for coming in. I definitely won't hold y'all long, but thanks for coming in. So I put up a post earlier. I'm trying to wait for, it's like one more dude. I'm trying to wait to see if they gonna come in. Yeah, crazy. Yeah, Tina, I'm excited too. Like, I got butterflies in my stomach right now. I had to like woosah woo. You know what I'm saying? Because this is a big topic. You know what I'm saying? It's a big topic, especially, you know, within the black community. Within the black community, it's a big topic, man. Alan, you 100% right. Don't let Escalade see that. Word. So, I mean, I'm curious to know, what are your thoughts? What do you guys think? You know what I'm saying? What do you guys think? Kevin Samuels, is he good for the black community or bad for the black community? The reason why I single out the black community is because he gets on women. He talks a lot to women, but the dominant race factor is black women. So I'm gonna factor that in. I got to put that in there. What do you guys think? Is he good or is he bad for the black community? Kevin Samuels. What do you guys think? Because I want to hear from you guys before I go on. You know what I'm saying? Before I go on, before I get into it, I want to hear from you guys on what your thoughts are. Yeah, Tina said, I think he's full of crap and knows how to hustle the black community. Tina said he's full of crap. Does anybody else on here feel like Kevin Samuels is full of crap? What the heck? Yeah, anybody else feel like that? Because I'm gonna go in, you know what I'm saying? I'm gonna go in on my thoughts. Back to that in. Okay, so okay. Any other thoughts? Any other thoughts before I go in? Any other thoughts before I go in? Because I'm gonna go all the way in. Because I told dudes this is the time I was going on. This is the time I was going on live, and dudes ain't showing up. The guys who I believe should hear this. Know what I mean? All right. So there's no other thoughts before, so I'm gonna just go straight on in, y'all. I'm gonna just go straight on in. I'm gonna go straight on in. Tina says he's disrespectful to women and they allow it like a bunch of dummies. Oh, yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. I bet. Okay, so here's my thoughts. Here's my thoughts on Kevin Samuel. Here is my thoughts on Kevin Samuel. My thoughts on Kevin Samuel is that, do I believe that he's good or bad for the black community? Is Kevin Samuels good or bad for the black community? I think that he's good for the black community, but not in the way that you may think. I think Kevin Samuels is good for the black community, but not in the way in which you may think. Kevin Samuels is good for the community, but not in the way in which you think. Kevin Samuels is a guy who basically shows you what a lot of black men were already thinking in their minds. This is what they were already thinking in their minds. This is the excuse to either lash out and say, hey, finally we got someone to speak up for us. You have a lot of men who ride with Kevin Samuels because they believe that he speaks for them. They believe he's the voice for them. Now, I don't vibe with Kevin Samuels at all. I don't vibe with Kevin Samuels. Okay, Spitter said I think that he's needed. Yeah. I don't vibe with Kevin Samuels at all. Some of my bros that I talked to before, we spoke about this before. I don't vibe with him at all. Okay. When I did my study on Kevin Samuels, just his listeners. When I did my studies on Kevin Samuels' listeners, I found out, and this is no disrespect to anyone listening. This is no disrespect. This is just what I found out. Now, if the shoe fits you, wear it. If the shoe fits you, wear it. What I found out is that what Kevin Samuels and his listeners have in common is that his listeners are either single, divorced, or in a unhappy relationship. They're either single, divorced, or in a unhappy relationship. This is what I found out. I went out, and during the time, while, you know, because I work later on during the day, and during the time when everybody's at school, whatever, I went out and I asked folks. I went and asked couples. I've asked single folks. The same thing you see me do in my other video where I went out to the public and asked questions. What I noticed is that the men who actually follow him, and I don't mean follow like you worship this guy, but I mean the men who actually take heed to what he's saying, who pay attention to what he's saying and takes it at heart and applies it to their lifestyle, are the men who fits one of those categories. They're either divorced and they're inside of an unhappy relationship, or they're single. They're looking to be married, but they're not married. Now, if the shoe fits you, then wear it. This is no disrespect to you, but that's what I found out. Now, the reason why I don't vibe with Kevin Samuels is because of the fact, not because that he, not because of the way he comes at women, like what Tina was saying. Tina was saying that he comes at women really disrespectful. There's a lot of women I've heard say that. From me talking with them, I've heard them say that. And Tina's right, he's divorced too. What I noticed about Kevin Samuels is that he doesn't address the elephant in the room. Kevin Samuels do not address the elephant in the room. The elephant in the room. The elephant in the room is not black women. The elephant in the room is racism, white supremacy. That's the elephant in the room. Now, you might say, well, yo, Dave, why you coming with that racist stuff, man? That has nothing to do with what he's saying. He's saying the obvious. I've even read where one dude has said something where he compared Kevin Samuels to a sister named Shahrazad Ali. I'm going to address that in a minute. But he doesn't address the obvious. These women that he is addressing, he calls them the 1%, basically. But these women that he is addressing, these women that call his show, that calls his youth, that hits him up on YouTube, on Livestream, on Zoom, these are women who are looking for men validation. They are looking for a man to validate them. This is why they call him. This is why they hit him up. He's got a big audience. And so they're calling him thinking that they can get the right advice, or they can be the one woman or the one female that's going to set him straight. They believe that. Kevin Samuels can sit there and state the obvious. A lot of obvious things are not the truth. He can sit there and state the obvious, which is he'll say something to a female who says, I'm looking for a guy who makes 6 figures. I want a guy who's going to be 6 foot 5 feet. Kevin Samuels would tell her, those are not realistic ideas. This is not what you want to go after. That's obvious. It's nothing. They're being really specific in what they want. And he's telling these women that if you want a man, you got to come correct first. This is what he's telling them. Fly Ty, what's good, brother? Fly Ty, what's good? So this is what he's telling them. But what it comes down to is, why are these women calling him? They're calling him for validation. Why do these women want validation? This is where I have a problem with Kevin Samuels at. This is where I have a problem with him at. Not his delivery to these black women. Not exactly what he's saying to these black women. But where are the answers to the deep-rooted issues? We're not talking about you trying to finally set these women straight and put them in their place. That's something that white supremacy is looking to do to black women. White supremacy says, I'm going to take these black folks, whether male or female, and I'm going to put them in their place. This is what white supremacy does. This is what they've been doing. That's the elephant in the room. And the reason why Kevin Samuels will not address the elephant in the room is because he knows that he'll lose the majority of his support. The majority of his support. If Kevin Samuels addresses white supremacy, he will lose the majority. Extra bad news, Ty. What's good, brother? He will lose the majority of his support. Don't you know there are only hundreds or thousands of men, black men, who pay attention to this man? There are a lot more white men who pay attention to this man. They listen to him. They vibe with him. Kevin Samuels will not address racism, white supremacy. Let's get into why these women are acting this way. Why do black women seek validation? Black women seek validation from black men or any other man because of their upbringing, because of the racism that has affected them in all areas of life. Racism. Jared, what's good, brother? Jared, what's good, brothers? All love. Racism affects black folks in 9 areas. 9 areas of society. 9 areas of life. Here's the 9 areas: economics, education, entertainment, labor, law, politics, religion, sexual relationships, and war. Those are the 9 areas in which racism, white supremacy affects. Black people as a whole. Now, if Kevin Samuels wants to put women in their place, if he wants to get women to see the reality of who they really are, then you don't start off by addressing the result. You start off by addressing the root. You need to get to the nucleus. You have to get to the nucleus of what's really going on. Eddie, what's going on, brother? Eddie, what's going on, brother? I appreciate you, brother. So when I hear folks say, yo, you know what? Kevin Samuels is needed in the black community, I ask how? Why? My boy Fly Ty, he said something to me the other day that really blew my mind. My boy Fly Ty, he said, yo, Kevin Samuels is addressing black women the same way Oprah Winfrey addressed black men all these years. The black women never stood up for these black men. When Oprah Winfrey and Gayle King was attacking black men, and they still do, they never stood up. I said, Fly Ty, you right. You right on that. They never stood up. You may have some black females who may have said, yeah, you know what, I don't vibe with what Oprah or Gayle King, what they do, Wendy Williams, no, I don't vibe with what they do. But those were individuals. Black women as a whole, I have to admit, black women as a whole didn't stand up when black men were being attacked. So black men feel now, listen, when this man is doing the same thing, you expect us to stand up? For some black men, they feel like it's not all about standing up. For some black men, they feel like it's just about telling you the truth. Here's the truth of the matter. Black women are far more subjugated to the lower living of life than what white women are, Asian women are, Jewish women are. They're way more subjugated to the lower living of life. They are open to white supremacy and the way white supremacy affects them. Now, the thing is, the reason why they are subjugated and oppressed in this way is because of the racism. Black women as a whole, we're talking about as a whole. Kevin Samuel wants to address little individuals. When you come to the black community, you have to address us as a whole. Kevin Samuels, when hearing these women, he doesn't say, well, you know what? The reason why you are this way is because of what racism did to you. You see, if you ever read a book called The Willie Lynch Letter, this book right here, The Willie Lynch Letter, Breaking the Curse of the Willie Lynch Letter. The Willie Lynch Letter was put out in the 1700s. The purpose of the Willie Lynch Letter was to divide blacks. Here was a white man coming over into America because in America and in the Caribbean because black folks were revolting. The black men and black women they could not be separated. They kept revolting. They kept creating insurrections. They kept fighting back because these black folks did not want to be enslaved. So they were connected like they always were, naturally. Willie Lynch said, if you really want to stop these blacks from revolting, you must separate them. The only way to separate them is you have to put the black man and the black woman against each other. You have to separate them by any means necessary. So this means you have to put the lighter blacks against the darker blacks. You treat them differently. Treat the lighter black much, much better. Treat the darker black worse. The black who could form some sort of English, you treat them better than what you treat the black that could not speak English. As a matter of fact, if you were lighter, you had a chance to stay in the slave owner's home. You were still enslaved, but you were in the home. You were in the home. The black worked out in the field. House Negro, field Negro. This is how they placed us together. Placed us against each other. They played us. The purpose. White man. Take the black female. Take the black male. Separate them. That's the only way you can stop them from gaining their freedom, because these folks was gaining their freedom. They was fighting back. This is things that you won't learn. They won't tell you this in school. And what happens now, they've done it for so long, more than 400 years. This Willie Lynch letter is psychological now. It's embedded into our minds. We do these things and we don't even know we're doing it. We violate our queens and we don't even know we're doing it. Our queens violate their kings and they don't even know they're doing it. We think that we're putting these women in check, when in fact, we're doing and operating in the same way that white supremacy have done. White supremacy said we're going to put these black women in check, so we got to place them against their black men. Ferg, what's good, brother? What's good, Ferg? We got to place them against their black men. They began to start doing something called buck breaking. They began to break the black man in front of the woman. Now, when you break the black man in front of the woman for more than 400 years, what does that do to the woman's psyche? That tells her, I don't want this man. Think about it. After every time we have begun to gain some sort of progress is when they hit us with another oopsie doozy upside the head. When black men and black women relationships after slavery was over, they began to start tightening up again. They hit us with black codes, Jim Crow laws, civil rights, all of that stuff, and then they hit us with the women rights movements and the Black Lives Matter. They hit us over and over and over. You feel me? They hit us over and over and over. And the next thing you know, these black women began to look at their black men differently. Not only that, you have the white man who sneaks up from behind and says, hey, if he ain't treating you right, I'll do it. This is separation within the black community. Some dudes don't want to hear this. We started out with like 8 listeners. Now it's down to 3. Because dudes don't want to hear what I have to say. Not even just me. They don't want to hear that. It's amazing they can sit down and listen to a man blast their own women and put their own women in their so-called place. But then when a real black man, a masculine black man sits up and says, yo, let's look at the history of this. Let's go deeper into this. The real impact of this, of why women are acting this way, is because of white supremacy. They leave. Now we down to like 3 or 2 listeners. This is what it comes down to. White people, and I'm not saying all white people are horrible. Trust me, I'm not saying that. But white supremacy, because you can be white and not be a part of white supremacy. White supremacy, they love to create a problem, then step back, watch us fight amongst each other, and then come back into what we've been fighting and misorganizing about, and play the hero to come and try to rescue the day. They've been doing that for years. They're doing it now with the shot on the left arm. We all know that. They create a problem, they come back, they leave and come back in to try to play the hero. And this is what they've done. And this is what they're doing. So they created a division amongst black men and black women. Then they stepped back. Watch us fight. Watch our divorce rates rise, because our divorce rates are at the highest. We have the highest divorce rates. It's not because black women are too picky. It's not because black men are too high volume. It's because of how we began to view ourselves. It's because of the war on black love. That's what it is. That's what it is. There's a war on black love. Kevin Samuels won't address this. Kevin Samuels will address black women without addressing the reason why they act this way. Psychologically, he won't address it. Psychologically, he won't address it. Psychologically, Kevin Samuels will not address why black women look at black men this way. I can't say that he's great for the community. Anybody who causes division amongst the black community, it's not great in my eyes if you're not doing it for the best reasons. Because in essence, what you're doing is you're helping black men and black women continue this Willie Lynch mentality, the post-traumatic slave syndrome. Not post-traumatic stress disorder, but post-traumatic slave syndrome. You're helping advance that. Because what these races are doing, other races, Chinese, whites, Latinos, Indians, Jewish, what these other races, even blacks from other continents, what they're doing is they're sitting back and they're watching how you speak to your women. They're watching how you are showing your women up and how you are checking your women in front of everybody. They're watching that with their popcorn. And then they sit back and they say, see, look at them fighting amongst each other. They can't even get along themselves. So this goes much, much deeper. Let's go a little deeper. Let's go a little deeper with Kevin Samuels. I'm not going to try to expose Kevin Samuels because that's what white supremacists do. I'm not going to call out, some of these things. He's got some issues going on with him in his life. And it's all on the internet. He's been lying to y'all. Y'all figure out what it is. Google him. He's got a lot of stuff going on with him that he's not being up close and up forthcoming about with his listeners. So when it comes down to it, yo, let's get a little deeper. Kevin Samuels. Why is it that you only address black women? You do know Asian women have these unrealistic expectations of their Asian men too, right? Essie, what's going on? Essie, what's going on? Why don't you speak to the Indian women? They have unrealistic expectations of their men too, of Indian men. Kevin Samuels, why don't you speak directly to the dominant society? Kevin Samuels, why don't you speak directly to the power structure that has oppressed our people, your community, my community, our community, the black community? Why don't you speak directly to those women? I want to see you make at least 9 videos addressing why racism, white supremacy affects black women, and this is the reason why they have unrealistic expectations of their men. White supremacy has battered and beat the black man down so much that he's been gone centuries having to struggle. The black man has tons upon tons of hurt within him. And we have children and we pass that hurt on to our children, not even understanding what we've passed on. We've never healed from our hurt because we've never addressed it. Instead, we just fought against each other. That's what we've done. This is what white supremacy has done. They've allowed other races to come into this country. They've allowed other races to come within this country, and they've granted them more rights and privileges than what black folks have been granted. Meanwhile, they're telling us to just do everything on your own. You've been here. What's the excuse? Everybody is doing something. You blacks get up and do something on your own. This is what they're telling us. You black men get up and do something on your own. You don't work hard enough. This is what they're saying. Yolanda was good. Yolanda was good. Was good. Vaughn Green was good, brother. Was good. I appreciate y'all for coming in. So this is what he's saying. This is what the black man is experiencing. Now, when it comes down to it, these are not issues that Kevin Samuels is actually digging deep in and talking about. Instead, he wants to expose, so-called expose black women. He wants to put black women in their place in front of the masses. Who does that? There's no other race group who does that. Only black people would do that because we're still psychologically damaged from the Willie Lynch letter. It's still embedded into us. It's in our hearts. It's in our minds. We breathe this in all day. So understand this. If you had to check, my question to you guys is this. If you had to check your family member, your daughter, your son, if you had to check your cousin for making a big fuss to you, for embarrassing you in front of everybody, what's the best way to do it? I'm not asking you what you would do. I'm asking you what's the best way to do it. Do you take your family member behind closed doors and handle that one-on-one? Or do you scream on your family member in front of everybody? My question is, when you have a problem with your family member and they are trying to embarrass you in front of everybody, do you get on your family member? Do you handle that situation in front of everybody? Or do you take it behind closed doors and handle that situation with your family member? What do you do? Here's what you're supposed to do. You're supposed to take your family member back door. You handle that back door. You don't do all of that screaming and pointing out and exposing and embarrassing. You don't do that in front of people, because guess what? Those other folks that you're doing that to your family member, they're going to think that they can do the same thing back to you, to your children, to your mother. They think they can do the same thing right back. My boy Kevin Miller, Deacon Miller said that it all depends. It all depends. You think about it, Deke. If your son was acting out, was trying to embarrass you, you mean to tell me you're not going to pull him to the side and be like, yo, hold on, what's wrong with you? Or are you just going to straight get on him and expose him and start telling his secrets and start pointing out all of his weaknesses, and you're going to start pointing out his unrealistic expectations? You're going to do that in front of everybody, D? I'm just asking, are you going to do that in front of everybody? This is what we have to stop doing. Rhoda, what's going on, Rhoda? Rhoda, what's going on? This is what we have to stop doing as black people. We can't look at our own folks and say we're going to embarrass them and put them on blast in front of everybody. This is what Kevin Samuels is doing. Kevin Samuels is not he's not going on speaking engagements. I'm talking about before YouTube. before he had the show with those other white boys. He was not going to speaking engagements in the urban neighborhoods and speaking to black men and black women and telling them, educating them on the war on black love and why we need to stick together, why we have these unrealistic expectations. It's not going to work. He didn't do that. He didn't do that. If Kevin Samuels did it, please show me a video, because he videotapes every woman that he wants to expose, every woman that he wants to expose, every woman that calls him up. He makes sure that that's on blast. What other race group would do that? What other race group would make sure that black people are always in the way and on blast and always embarrassed in front of other folks? What other race group, what other structure would do that? That's racism, white supremacy that would do that. Asians don't do that to themselves, to their own race group. Indians don't do that to their own race group. We're talking about as a whole. They don't do that, but we do, because we've been programmed to do that. I want to hear Kevin Samuels talk about how the black woman and the black man have been engineered and programmed to have unrealistic expectations against each other. I mean, for each other. I'm sorry. Unrealistic expectations for each other. Fly Tie said, yo, you get what you give. You get what you give. Okay. Deacon Miller said, nah, I wouldn't go that deep, but my boys would never try to play me because our relationship in private eliminates that nonsense in public. That's perfect, Deke. You see what I'm saying? So what type of relationship does Kevin Samuels have with the black community? Not with black men, but with the black community. Not with some black men. What relationship does he have with the black community? Is Kevin Samuels consistently trying to build? You made your point. Kevin Samuels, you made your point. There are women who have unrealistic expectations. Now, can you make 100 more videos communicating the war on black love and educating the war on black love? Right, he won't do it. Reason why he won't do it? Because he will lose the majority of his support. Remember, I spoke about earlier how white supremacy has a knack for creating a huge problem so that the people in the same group would be divided. And then that same power structure that created that problem will come back in, swoop in like Superman to try to save the day. And this is what we up against. I want to hear Kevin Samuels talk to black women about this. The 9 areas in which racism has affected them and reasons why they look at our men the way that they look at our men. I want him to address the economic situation with our women. I want him to address the educational situation with our women. I want Kevin Samuels to address the entertainment, the racism in entertainment with our women. I want him to address the labor with our women. This is how racism affects us as a whole. I want him to address the law. I want him to address politics. I want him to address religion. I want him to address sexual relations. I want him to address war. Can he address those things? Those are 9 simple things he can address. Can he address those? It's just 9 videos. Can we see that? Then Ricky Lake. Kevin Samuels is no different than the Jerry Springer Show. Kevin Samuels is what's the other one? It's Ricky Lake, Jerry Springer. There was another one. Their ideology and what they was doing with black folks was demographic, bro. It was black folks. They had other races, but the majority of it was black. And we seen what they did. After a while, what they were doing at first, they were just having black folks come up there, act the fool. Then, black folks got educated in that aspect. Because black folks are educated. But black folks got educated in that aspect. They said, we ain't going up there doing this no more. They're embarrassing all of us. They're displaying this stupidity on TV, all of us. You are not the father. You got 5 baby fathers and you had, they said, nah, we ain't doing that no more. So what did these shows start doing? They started taking people off the street, paying them. This is very real. This is documented, bro. This is documented, bro. If I was on Zoom, I would provide the documents for you. I can't even pull that joint up on here. But this is documented. They was paying folks to come up on that show. After black folks got educated, said, we ain't doing that no more. Black folks became conscious. They start pulling the worst of the blacks off the streets and was paying them to come on these shows. Read a script, just act out and do anything. This is why it began to look so fake. They began to do these things. You understand? They paid people. This is how they got their millions of views. They paid these black folks to act a fool and be ignorant. What makes you think Kevin Samuels is not paying these women? What makes you think Kevin Samuels is not endorsing these women? Or he doesn't have this plan for women to call up with these unrealistic expectations, act a fool so that he can expose you. Women, for the views, more money, more popularity. What makes you think he's not doing that? Do any of you know Kevin Samuels? Richard Bay, absolutely. Do any of you know Kevin Samuels personally? I don't know him personally. I don't know Kevin Samuels personally, but do any of you know him personally to where you can verify and say he is not doing that? He is not supposed to call up on his show so that they can have their little 10 minutes of fame, their 5 seconds of fame. How do you know he's not doing that? To do what? To do what white supremacy has been trying to do to black women all of these years. Now, I must admit to y'all, there are black women who do go off the rail, who trade their own man in for the wealth of a white man. They commit crimes against their own black men. I will admit that. There are black women who purposely withhold their children from seeing the children's father. There are black women who do this. There are black women who use the court system to demean the black man. There are women who do this. There are black women who have specific expectations of what the perfect man doesn't fit it, he's no good. There are black women who look at black men that way. This is nothing new. But there's a reason why black women engage in those type of behaviors. If you leave a black woman and a black man in their natural environment, no white supremacy, no discrimination, no civil rights violations, no human rights violations. When you leave the black man and the black woman together, blackness happens, and you can't take that blackness. Other races can't take that blackness. Power happens. And they produce power within their children. They produce these things. Other races can't take it. They can't stand it. They turn their nose up at it. They hate us for that because of our blackness. But when you leave the black man and the black woman in the room together and leave all that other nonsense and garbage out, they will love each other to death. The black man has always loved the black woman. That was his natural thing. Back in Africa, black men, they loved their women so much they worshiped them as gods. As gods, do you hear me? Not as a president, not as a queen, as a god. Racism has taught us to hate each other. If what I'm saying is all lies, tell me where I'm lying at. I'm giving you straight facts. These are facts. You can go to Africa right now. You can go to South America right now. You could go to Brazil, Australia right now. You will see statues and monuments of black women all around these areas in which black people were dwelling at. It's only here in America where our minds have been poisoned to go against our black women. We're supposed to protect our black women, men. We're supposed to protect them. We don't shout them out in the public to everybody. What we're supposed to do, what black men are supposed to do, is protect them. And whatever issues they have, whatever inconsistencies they have, whatever problems and imperfections they have, we take that behind closed doors. And we address that behind closed doors. And if the women still don't want to listen, we leave them alone. What the heck happened with my life? What the heck happened with my live? You see? Something happened with my live. But I dropped in listeners too. The listeners start dropping out, but they don't want to hear this, but it's the truth. Can't deal with that blackness, bro. Yo, if y'all can hear me, I'm about to come out, y'all. What are y'all thoughts? Okay, my man Flata, hold on, I think I'm still live. My Flata said, yo, all Kevin Samuels is doing is holding our sister. Okay, thanks Tina, thanks T. Flata said, yo, and Flata, Flata, this is nothing personal. You know, we brothers for life, bro. So I don't let Kevin Samuels get in the way of us. I'll snuff Kevin Samuels for you. All Kevin Samuels is doing is holding our sisters accountable for the BS that they do, because they was told that no matter, they can't do wrong. And I get that, Flata. Flata, I get that. If he's trying to hold our sisters accountable, go behind closed doors and do that. Do speaking engagements. Go to speaking engagements, right? Go to the urban neighborhoods and where the divorce rates are very, very high. Go there and speak to those people and tell them why. Give them the history so that they know where they came from, on why this is happening. Everybody needs to know why something is happening. He needs to give it to them. Yo, this is why this is happening to you. Now, this present day, this is the accountability in which you need to be held. Now, here's the future. Here's the plan. Why don't Kevin Samuels do that? Why must he go on YouTube and just expose everybody? I can make videos doing that. My homegirl Tina, she got tens of thousands of followers on YouTube. She can go on and just expose black women for who they really are, all this stuff. She can go in there. She can gain a lot of props doing this. How you doing, Ann? What's up, Ann? What's up, Ann? Yeah, she can do this. That don't mean that it really. It's nothing. You would gain a lot of support destroying the black community You can gain support doing this. The moment Kevin Samuels, if he speaks out or speak on a subject against gays, against Chinese, against the Jews, if Kevin Samuels speak out against their women, I bet you he'll get shut down, because their community, their men, is not going to stand for that. They will not stand for that. Flatai said, yo, it's been getting out of hand for years. Yes, absolutely, it's been getting out of hand for years. But at the same time, yo, Jaden, what's good, brother? Jaden, what's good, brother? Yeah, it's been getting out of hand for years, for more than 400 years. But when it gets out of hand, the proper way of settling something, take your family to the back and say, yo, stop trying to disrespect me out here in front of these people. You know better. What's going to happen is that they're going to respond better to you, because you don't want to try to embarrass a black person in front of other folks. That's a cause for disaster. You know what I'm saying? That's a cause for disaster. You don't want to try to do that. Take black people behind closed doors. Reason with them. Talk with them. I'm not saying being soft. You can still say the same thing. You can say the same thing. But it's the way in which you do it. So I don't care about Kevin Samuels' delivery on what how he disrespects women. I don't care. My thing is, what are you doing as a part of the solution? What? Answer this. Answer this, and then I'm gonna get ready to end, because I'm gonna take this over to Instagram. There's some folks on Instagram that wanted to holler at me about this. What constructive result is Kevin Samuels producing for the black community as a whole by what he's doing? What's up, Ann? Oh yeah, I'm good, Ann. I'm good. It's good to see you too. Yeah, and I'm speaking up for black folks as a whole, And what's funny, Ann, is that we started out with like 8 listeners, and a couple of people then left. A couple of people left because they don't want to hear a masculine man combat their favorite person, their idol. They don't want to take that. They can't take it. They think that I'm talking nonsense, but I'm presenting facts. I'm giving you historical facts. And they left. The same people who was commenting on, saying, yeah, you know, he's good for the community, they left. What's up, sis? I love you. Brenda, you already know. It's me and you against the world, baby. You already know. That's my sister. They left. They left because they can't take this. They can't take a masculine man not just staring you in the camera. They can't take a masculine man speaking up for black people as a whole. I'm black. And my blackness is power. So my thing is this. I don't do it for the listeners. I don't do it for the fame or anything like that. None of that. What I do this for is black people as a whole. As a whole. At least on my part. Because I want us to build. I want black men and black women to stop fighting against each other. Spitter said that he called out men. Yeah, Spitter, you know when he called out men? He was calling out men when he had that show that was being produced by those white men. That's when he called out men. Hey, listen. It's facts. White supremacy will always push you to the forefront when you call out a black man. When you call out black men, white supremacy will always push you to the forefront. They have no problem with doing that. That's what they do. The Willie Lynch letter. That's how they keep us separated. But we got to break the curse. We haven't broken the curse. We haven't broken the curse. Kevin Samuels is continuing this curse. I want to know why Kevin Samuels will not address racism, white supremacy. Why won't he address that? Because that is the reason why these women that call him up are saying the things that they are saying. It's because of racism, white supremacy. When are we going to start holding racism, white supremacy accountable? Why is it that black men always got to hold black women accountable? Black women got to hold black men accountable. When is it that we're going to stand together, band together as black men and black women, create a power structure and hold white supremacy as accountable beings? Why won't we do that? Why? Because during slavery times, we've always been taught that massa is always right. That's why, if I had a chance to speak with Kevin Samuels, these are the things that I would pull up. You see, what most of y'all do, not y'all, I'm sorry, I don't mean to come at y'all, but what most people do that call his show, they call his show for petitioning for reliability, petitioning for some sort of reliance on his advice. Not knowing that this is a man that it's not suitable to give you the type of advice that you need. I'm not going to put him on blast. Like I said, I'm not here to try to expose him, but you can expose him for yourself. He's got a lot of crap going on with him right now. He's not being truthful with his listeners. Most of his listeners, the men that vibe with him, are either single, divorced, or they're inside of an unhappy relationship. Those are the men who vibe with him, who take his word to heart and they apply it. But then guess what? You still end up being the same way, because you're going to walk around with that white supremacy mentality against these strong black women, and they're not going to want that. Kevin is a mess. He degrades men and women on a regular, and it's disgusting. Everyone does not have it all together, and the ones who don't are well aware. Do better and judge yourself. You don't need a weirdo with a crooked smile to degrade you into believing into believing otherwise. Wow. 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 And Tina says, I just don't think he's being genuine in what he's doing. I feel he make a good cult leader. He's a great talker and brutally honest, and people love that. Absolutely. Absolutely. So I spoke to some black men who said that he's brutally honest. I just spoke to one today who said he heard of him, but he don't vibe with him. But he said, but he is honest. Well, yeah. You have to show some sort of vulnerability, because he's trying to appeal to the emotion of the female. He's trying to appeal to the emotional side of the female, so that he could take advantage of them. What constructive result is Kevin Samuels producing by exposing black women for who they really are? What is he doing? What constructive result is he producing for the black community as a whole by doing this? What, is he just showing us that black women have issues? Is he just showing us that black men are tired of the BS that black women display? How is that going to help us create? How is that going to help us create children? How is that going to help us create a tight economic situation? How is that going to help us create a better educational system, a better entertainment? Because as black people, we need proper representation. And so far on TV, on media, period, we have not gotten proper representation. How is that going to produce a constructive result for blacks in entertainment, for blacks in the way that in our work life? How is that going to, in our businesses as well? How is that going to produce a constructive work a constructive result for black people in the politics, in law, in religion, in war. How is that going to produce constructive results? Positive. It won't produce any. It will not produce any. Tina said he's not looking to make a positive change in the black community. It's just all for divide and to gain a following of black men. He doesn't try to unite. Yeah, I definitely believe that. I definitely believe that. He's judgmental unless he brought heaven. He has no right to say what he's been saying. Yeah, I think yo, and then for the intelligent black men who's still on, because I'm quite sure probably most of them left because it irks them. It irks them. It's frustrating for them. But it's alright. Because what I'm saying, I'm presenting facts. I'm presenting facts. I'm presenting facts. Trav, what's good, brother? What's good, brother? I'm presenting facts. I gave you facts. So just to sum it up before I end, just to sum it up, I said, listen, if Kevin Samuels, if he's so much for the black community, can we see some construction, some positive constructural results that he is doing for the black community as a whole? Then I said, I gave you a book that you could check out. I gave you the book that you could check out called Breaking the Curse, the Willie Lynch Letter. I would like to ask Kevin Samuels, have you ever read that? Have you read the Willie Lynch Letter? That's what I would ask him. Have you read that? All right. Then I gave you the history behind it. How racism, white supremacy has affected black relationships. It's affected black people as a whole in 9 different areas: economics, education, entertainment, labor, law, politics, religion, sexual relations, and war. And I asked the question, why hasn't Kevin Samuels addressed the result of racism, white supremacy in those 9 different areas? Because that's the reason why the women that's calling him are calling him with the nonsense they're calling him with, and bringing up the stuff that they're bringing up to him. I presented that to you. That's all facts. That's all written down. This is stuff that we could go back. You guys can go back and research this. Like, this is not something that is of my opinion. The reason why black people are divided the way they are divided today is because of racism, white supremacy. Kevin Samuels doesn't address that. Nuck said that it's a one-sided debate. How is it a one-sided debate? How is this a one-sided debate? To be honest, I wasn't even looking to debate anybody. I wasn't looking to debate anybody. I asked simple questions. Why won't Kevin Samuels speak on the why? If he's exposing women for who they are, why won't he speak on why they act the way that they act? We're not talking about what you want now. I'm talking about psychologically. Because he sits there on camera and stares at you like this, right? With his shades on, as if he's a psychologist. So how is that a one-sided debate? I was never looking to debate anybody. Well, I'm giving you a straight facts. Does racism, white supremacy, has that not affected black people, black men and women? The reason why black men are suppressed in this world, in this country, is that not because of racism, white supremacy? How is that one-sided? The reason why black women are so disrespected, which Malcolm X said, Malcolm X said the most disrespected person in the world is black women. That's not speculation, Nux. That's not speculation. Does Kevin Samuels not aim, is his aim not to place black women in their place? Is his aim not to expose some of these black women for the gold diggers that he says that they are? Is that not a fact? Is Kevin Samuels not looking to do that? So if that's not true, what is Kevin Samuels looking to do? What is his aim? If that's not true, what is Kevin Samuels' aim? What's his aim? What's his primary objective? What is Kevin Samuels' primary objective? His message is accountability. Let me ask you something, Nuts, because you just came in. I asked other folks this, and when I asked other folks this, about 5 people left. 5 people left when I asked this. Now let me ask you something, Nux. We go on a date. We go on a double date. Me, my wife, you and your wife. We go on a double date. Your wife begins to start acting up a little bit in your eyes. She's getting a little bit too disrespectful with what she's exposing at the dinner table. Do you scream on your wife and get on her then? Do you handle the situation? Do you handle that situation right there, or do you pull her to the side to handle that situation? What do you do, Nux? If you have a family that is trying to embarrass you in front of the world, do you pull that family member to the side behind closed doors, or do you show disrespect with disrespect? What would you do? Tina said he lives for the exposing. That's why I say he's not genuine in what he does. His content is just for views and attention. I agree with that. He admires being admired and held in high respects. Nah, Flata. You, Flata, we got to keep it real. What would you do? There's no in between. Do you take your family member behind closed doors and handle that situation, or do you repay the disrespect with disrespect in front of everybody? Oh, Nux, you said option 2. So option 2, my option 2 was take them behind closed doors. So is that what you're saying, Nux? That you would take your family member, your wife, behind closed doors to handle that situation? Oh, okay, Tina. What's up, Nay? What's up, Nay? Nay, that's my sister right there. Okay, Nux. Okay, so you said Nux. So you said you would take your family member behind closed doors. Whatever happened to holding them accountable? Whatever happened to that, Nux? Do it in front of everybody. Hold your family member accountable in front of everybody. Isn't that what Kevin Samuels is doing? Is that not what he's doing? Is he going behind closed doors? Is Kevin Samuels going behind closed doors in which he's doing this? Is he going to the black communities that have the highest divorce rates, that have the highest crime rates, that has the highest unemployment rates? Is he going there and explaining to these folks why they're in the condition in which they're in, and then trying to lift the black man and black women up and explaining to them that there's a war on black love and that you have unrealistic expectations? You're trying to live up to the expectation of white supremacy. This is why it doesn't work for you in America. Is he doing that? Is he going? Because he records everything that he does. Everything that he does, he records it, especially when it comes down to black women. So is he holding his people accountable behind closed doors? Because you said this is what you would do. You would go behind closed doors. So if you would go behind closed doors, why do you support him? If I could put you on, I would put you on, Nux. Yo, Nux, you already know. You already know. This is something that me and you discussed in private, right? And the same thing I'm saying to you, the same thing I'm saying now, I said this before. So this is not a thing where I'm trying to dictate or I'm trying to change the minds of people. I am not trying to change the minds of anybody on the stream. Anybody on the stream, I am not trying to trying to change the minds of anybody on the stream. I'm giving you straight facts, Nux. Now, I said, yo, I was doing a stream here on Facebook and I was doing a stream on Instagram. I didn't know. This is only my second stream on Facebook. Like, it's only my second live stream on Facebook. The other time I did it through Zoom and Zoom was freezing up. This way is much, much better. I'm not looking to sway anyone. What I'm looking to do is just present an alternative. The alternative. And if I can get you, if I seen a button in which I can get you on, I would. I don't see it, brother. Nene said, come on, come with the facts. Nux, that's not facts? Okay, so Nux, let me ask you this. I wish I can get you on. I don't see if I can get you on, brother. Nux, I'm asking you this, Nux. Yes or no, is the black community divided? Are black women and black men divided? Is that a fact? Is the black men and black women divided today? Are they not divided as a whole? How is that not facts? I want to know from you, how is that not facts? If the black man and black women are divided, what's the best thing to do when a people's divided? You want to bring them back together. You want to bring these folks back together. All right. So if your aim is to bring these folks back together, how are you going to do that? How are you going to do that? By exposing one side without addressing the bully. How are you going to address the bullied and not address the bully? The bullied in this conversation is the women, it's the black women. Now, I'm not saying we can't hold them accountable. Even black women hold other black women accountable. That's not even a discussion. The way he speaks to black women, that's not even a discussion. We're talking about if you're going to hold someone accountable, why not hold the person who started the trouble accountable? Who started the divide? amongst black men and black women. Okay, you said correct. In order to bring them together, you have to be able to be honest with them. I'm being honest with you right now. I'm being honest with you, black man to another black man. I'm being honest with you right now. And I'm telling you, the biggest trick that white supremacy has played on black people is that they have caused a divide. What the tendency that white supremacy tends to do is create a problem, back up, watch the group of people fight amongst each other, and then come back and to swoop in and be the hero. We see them doing that now with the VA shot. Does Kevin Samuel produce? This is for you, Nux. My question is, does Kevin Samuel produce a constructive, positive result for black people as a whole? Is he producing a positive, constructive result? And I gave you 9 areas. I want him to produce this in 9 areas. 9 areas. So trust me, it's not one side. These are just questions I'm asking you. I'm not trying to take away a voice and none of that. This is not my aim. I'm not looking to do that. I'm not looking to be one-sided at all. You know what I'm saying? Like I'm not looking to do that. But I'm giving you historical facts. You can say the historical facts is fake if you want, but I can pull this up. There was a letter called the Willie Lynch letter that was made to divide black men and black women for more than 400 years. That's not my opinion. That's not me being one-sided. That's a fact. Nene said history shows it. That's a fact. That's a fact. And I'm being real with you the same way your man Kevin Samuels tends to try to be real with those women. He asks them direct questions, right? Does Kevin Samuels not ask these black women direct questions? I'm asking you direct questions. I'll ask Kevin Samuels direct questions. I wish I could meet him, because he ain't used to talking to masculine black men. Okay, Nux said, I agree with your history lesson, but that doesn't deal with what's on the surface. Kobe, what's good, bro? What's good, Cole? Nux, we're not trying to deal with what's on the surface. When you are dealing with black people, you can't deal with black people with the surface part. You can't, because we have too much trauma that has been induced and installed into us for more than 700 years. So you can't address a black person just off of the surface. That's emotion. You got to address a black person intellectually, because black people are intellectually gifted. So when you address black people, you can't address them singly. You can't address 1% of black people. You can't address 35% of black people. You have to address black people as a whole. That means here in America, over there in Africa, over in South Brazil, all that, you got to address black people as a whole, because we roll as a unit. Every other race does it. Nene says that that's not where the fungus lies. The surface, that's not where the fungus lies at. Nux. Only thing I'm asking, Nux, I wanna know why Kevin Samuels will not address the 9 areas in which racism, white supremacy has affected black women. I want to know why doesn't he address, I'm sorry, excuse me. Why doesn't he address those 9 areas? I want to hear him address that for men and women. That's what I want to know. I understand that you disagree, and that's fine. My motive is not to try to get anyone to, I'm not trying to sway anyone. If I am able to sway you, fine. You know what I'm saying? But my motive is not to do that. I wasn't here to debate. I wasn't here to just talk. At the beginning of the stream, I asked everybody, what do you guys think? And even in the stream, there was a divide. You have the women who like, yo, we don't vibe with him. And then you got the men who like, yeah, we vibe with him. So that's a divide right there. When Malcolm X walked this planet, black men and women, they were collective for him, yo. Like when it came for him, they were collective. When Ella Baker walked, they were collective for them. That's not just history. That's facts. They were able to galvanize black men and black women and black children. Nux, a lot of the times his message is to seek therapy. You know how I feel about that. Come on, Nux. You said that before. So, you mean to tell me he can sit there and diagnose someone, because in order to say someone needs therapy, you got to diagnose them. This is facts. There's a psychologist in the chat right now. I don't know if she's still in. Tina was in there. I don't know if Tina left, but she's a psychologist. And she's a life coach. You got to diagnose someone to say they need therapy in this. And you're absolute, and to be honest, to an extent, okay, Nene says, seek therapy after he attacks. Seek therapy after he attacks. That's, come on. He's a clown. He's a Sambo. He done sold his folks out on many occasions. Chill. Chill. Steve Harvey is not even, that's not even enough for it's not up for nothing. Like, who is Steve Harvey? Who is Steve Harvey? So we gotta be honest. We just have to be honest with ourselves, bro. We have to be honest with ourselves. If you want to hold black women accountable, fine. Hold your black women accountable. Black men, if you want to hold your black women accountable, fine. Let's do it. As a whole, whoever's listening to this, whoever's still vibing with us, if you are a black man and you want to hold your black women as a whole, not one, but you want to hold all black women accountable as a whole, that's fine. That's good. Let's go and let's do this behind closed doors so that the other races are not looking at us, looking and saying, hey, look at these clowns. Look at them fighting amongst each other. Look at them. They can't even get along. It took one man overnight to come and divide black men and black women. It was too easy. That was easy work for him. We need one person that's going to come into the black community and cause. Not even just one. I'm sorry. We don't need one person. We don't need just one person. We need the community as a whole to come in and say, black men, black women, this is how we feel. This is how we feel. And we do this behind closed doors. We keep the other races out. We keep the cameras out. We keep the phones out. We say we're going to do this behind closed doors. And when we come out of that room, we are both going to come out with black power. Power, because it's power in your blackness. And other races can't stand that. That's why they want to sit around and watch us clown each other. So they like it when Oprah Winfrey sits down and clowns men. For more than a decade, Oprah Winfrey has done that. She's clowned black men. had black men looking bad. You know what I'm saying? Gayle King has done the same thing. Oh, let's not forget Wendy Williams. She's a joke, but she's done it. You know what I'm saying? So here's the thing. They've clowned black men for centuries, not for centuries, for decades. And black women as a whole didn't stand up. I admit that. As a whole, black women didn't stand up. You had some black women standing up, but not all. It's the same thing happening now. You have Kevin Samuels, which a lot of people feel like he's clowning. And it's like the black men are not standing up. This is how some people feel. Okay, Nuck said you can, okay. Oh, what's up, Estelle? What's up, Estelle? Hold on. I ain't getting none of that showing up on my joint. You could talk about our black trauma and then say he can't tell somebody to seek therapy with diagnosing them. You spoke to the trauma though, G. Yeah, I spoke to the trauma. These are obvious traumas. Kevin Samuels don't speak to the traumas, right? And he doesn't speak to the history of the trauma. So you can't just say, well, I'm gonna point everything out that you say and then you can go get therapy. No, you sit down and you give them therapy. Jared, what's good, brother? Chantel, what's going on? Chantel, what is going on? What is going on? Yes, indeed. Fly Top, my bro, that's my bro. Yeah, man, so I mean, that's just what it comes down to. You can't say, yo, you guys went through 700 years of this trauma happening to you from different race groups, and now that you're separated, just go and get therapy. You can't do that, because that therapy is going to take 700 years. So if you're going to give us therapy, we need the right type of therapy. When you talk about black people are exceptional people. Black people are exceptional people. Black people, you are exceptional. The reason why is because nobody has gone through the type of trauma that you've gone through. Nobody wakes up to the type of nonsense that you wake up on a daily basis. Nobody has to carry around a burden, not your blackness, but just a burden that has been embedded in your DNA. Nobody has to walk around like that the way that we do. Other races have burdens. They have issues, but not like us. So when you give us our therapy, we need a special type of therapy. We need a therapy that's going to produce a constructive result. And my question was that nobody answered. What is Kevin Samuels doing to produce a constructive result for black people as a whole? Holding black women accountable is not producing a constructive result for black people as a whole. For the simple fact, you have a lot of black women who hold other black women accountable. You have black men who hold black women accountable all the time. You have women who hold black men accountable all the time. We've held each other accountable too many times. When are we going to hold white supremacy accountable for damaging us, for playing us against each other? Again, I ask you, what constructive result is he producing? Is the divorce rate decreasing ever since Kevin Samuels began to hold women accountable? Oh, Flytie said Beyonce. Oh, hold up. Flytie said Beyonce, Nicki Minaj. We keep going on about holding men accountable. Oh, I'm sorry. Wait. My fault, Flytie. I read it wrong. Beyonce, Nicki Minaj. We can keep going on about holding men accountable. Okay. And Nate, only I can call her Nene, everybody else. But Nene, she said, no way, black women did stand up. Media was different back then. This is incorrect. Okay. Well, I see what y'all saying. Okay, I see what you're saying. So you're saying that, your Fly Tie, you're saying that The issue is always holding black women, holding black men accountable. But who's going to hold these black women accountable? And I think you're giving the example of Beyonce and Nicki Minaj. Let me know if that's what you're saying. Am I wrong or am I right in what you're saying? Fly Ty, am I wrong or am I right in what you're saying? I mean, listen, man, when it come down to it, y'all, when it come down to it, I don't want, you know, for everybody who is still on and okay, Fly Ty said yes, exactly. Okay, your Fly Ty, listen, I vibe with you on that. I vibe with you on that. Fly Ty, the only difference is between your message and Kevin Samuels' message is that you are not afraid to address racism, white supremacy, and you are not afraid to call it out. Kevin Samuels is. I want to see at least 9 videos where he called out why black women act the way they act. Not all black women, but the black women that he is talking about. Why do they act the way they act? Why do they behave in these type of behaviors? Why do they engage in these type of behaviors? Fly Ty, you're exactly right. You said life is all about balance. You 100% Fly Ty, but you can't have balance when you have the black man divided against his black woman. And you can't have a balance when you have the black woman divided against the black man. We are already divided. Before Kevin Samuels was ever born, before his parents were born, we were already divided. So why do we need more to divide us? We can say we can hold each other accountable all day. My question is, why doesn't Kevin Samuels hold racism, white supremacy accountable? Can someone answer that for me? Yo, I asked that before and like 3 people left. I'm asking, why doesn't Kevin Samuels hold racism, white supremacy accountable for the way that they've divided the black man and the black woman? Why doesn't he address that? I'm not trying, that's me, that's a serious question. Why doesn't he do that? Why doesn't he provide that answer in detailed video? At least 9 videos. He has 100 and something, 200 and 500 something videos. I'm just asking for 9 videos in which he addresses and he comes and attacks racism, white supremacy for the way that they have divided the black man and the black woman. When you divide, you're not always creating a balance. Sometimes there's a remainder left over. Is that remainder white supremacy? Just asking. Can anybody answer that question for me? Like, we all been on here, we vibing as a family. We all having an intelligent conversation. Can someone please answer that? I had men who was in here and they left because they don't want to hear what I got to say. Not just me, just Dave. They don't want to hear a man speaking about this. They left. They bounced. They was like, I don't want to hear this. They went and turned on Kevin Samuels. And then they said to check the music. Check the music. It's there. It's not hidden. What you mean by that, Nay? What you mean by check the music? What you mean by check the music, Nay? Yo, I'll give at least like 15 more seconds. Can someone please answer that for me? Why won't Kevin Samuels use his platform? Because he has like 1.5 million subscribers on YouTube alone. Why won't he use that big platform that he has to attack why black men and black women are attacked? Why won't he address racism, white supremacy? Fly Ty, thank you, Fly Ty, for even giving me an answer. Fly Ty, I thank you for even giving me an answer. We had other men that was on here that vibed with Kevin Samuels too, and they left. They left when I asked this question. They bounced. They left. And then they said, yep, in the 80s, women could not put a man in the lease. If she and her children needed low-income housing, absolutely, the welfare, absolutely. So but then check this out, Nay. Who enforced that law? It wasn't the black man who enforced that law on his own family, and it wasn't the black woman who enforced that law on her own family. Who enforced that law? This is what I'm saying. We shouldn't look at the black women and say, yo, you know what? The black woman needs to be held accountable. The black man needs to be held accountable. That's a given. We already know we need to hold each other accountable. What I'm talking about is, why don't we hold the power structure that has divided us? Why don't we hold them accountable? That's my question. And only Fly Ty gave me an answer. And I give him props 100% because that's his honest answer. That's his answer, and I respect it. I don't want us to be divided, you know what I'm saying? I don't want us to look at each other crazy, you know what I'm saying? My boy Fly Ty is, we call him Fly Ty for a reason. He's dope. Nene is dope. Who else is in here? Let me see who else is in here. Dang, I can't even see who else is in here right now. I can't even see who else is in here right now. Hold on, I'm gonna check right now. Where the viewers? I can't even see who else is in here right now. I can't even see who else is in here right now. But for everyone who stuck around, I really appreciate you guys. You know what I'm saying? For real, because this is just something that we need to talk about. And we don't have to walk away. We don't have to, I wouldn't say walk away, but come off I would guess our phones or laptops disliking each other or whatever, or still being divided. Let's do what we can. Let's look at the power structure that played us against each other, because black women have been played against black men. Black men have been played against black women. But we have to be able to hold the power structure accountable and say, y'all not going to play us against each other no more. And whoever you're going to use to divide us, we not vibing with them. If that's Dave, Kevin Samuels, if that's Martin Luther King, whoever is looking to divide black people and to keep us from procreating and creating more powerful black children, to build a nation, whoever is going to try to stop us, try to strip us from that, we need to cut them and put them to the side. Let those folks who really vibe, let them do that. If you really about black empowerment, man, let's walk away with this let's walk away with this and love each other. That sounds cliche, but it's the truth. We can't be divided no more, bro. There's enough division amongst us, and if we continue to be divided based off an opinion or based off some historical fact, if we continue to be divided, we won't be able to ensure our survival as black people. As black people, it is up to us to ensure the survival of our nation. We are a nation that lives within a nation looking for a personality. This is why black women seek validation from him. Yeah, Nene said, look at the war in Rwanda. Who stole these people with their weapons? Now, Rwanda is one of the safest places to live. Why? White savior? No, she said, who supplied them? She said, who supplied them? And then she says, it's a cancer in the community. And she says, I don't care, I don't care, I don't care, I don't care. Nene says, I don't care. She said, he's an elder at that. Where is the wisdom? I could never, and I love my black brothers. This is what it is. Thank you for saying that, Nay. Thank you for saying that. I think more black men need to hear that. They need to hear black women say, we love y'all. Because I've talked to a lot of black men when I'm doing outreach, you know what I'm saying? And black men was like, yo, we love black women. We love them. They're like, we're looking to stay together. I've asked older people that, younger folks that, all of that, man, when it comes down to it. You know what I'm saying? So I don't, you know what I'm saying? So yo, listen, y'all. I'm gonna get ready to end the live. I really appreciate you guys, and it's much love. Nay, you know it's always love, all day. Yo, Fly Ties, all love, brother. This doesn't change, not a thing between me and you at all. It's always all love. I would still, you know, love for you to get up on, you know, the Non Compromise show and just explain your story, man, because you went through a lot. And for everybody else, Brenda, that's my sister, love you to death. Nux, much love, brother. You already know you're part of No Compromise. You know what I'm saying? Trav, Fly Tie, Ann, Deacon Miller or Kev Miller. Everybody who tapped in, I appreciate you guys, man. Oh, Estelle, that's my other ride or die sister. That's my other ride or die sister, Estelle. I love you too, and it's all love. I just think that as black people, we just have to hold white supremacy accountable so that we can empower ourselves and build a nation. Forget about trying to hold each other accountable. We've done that for years. Let's hold white supremacy accountable. You know what I'm saying? So much love to y'all, man. I didn't even mean to stay on this long. I appreciate you guys. I'm about to take this over to Instagram just for a little bit, probably, but I appreciate you guys, man. Thank you. Fly Tide, thanks for even giving an answer, brother. Much love, man. Much love to everybody who stayed in. No Compromise. Don't forget to check us out on Spotify. We on YouTube. We on Anchor. I'm on SoundCloud. It's No Compromise Media. If you look that up, No Compromise Media, if you go to Spotify and all of that, our stuff is on there. Our stuff is on there. You know what I'm saying? Our stuff is on there, no doubt, no doubt, no doubt. So yeah, so much love to y'all, man. I appreciate you guys. Much love. Peace.